Greetings, welcome to Facts About Everything. I'm your host, James Egan. Today in Horror Month, we'll be looking at the franchise Scream. Neve Campbell plays the lead role, Sydney. Drew Barrymore cameos in the first scene. However, Drew Barrymore was actually cast in the lead role originally. When Barrymore read the script, she thought it'd be better if she played Casey, who was murdered at the beginning. She thought it'd be more shocking for the audience to see a famous actress die straight away because they would assume she would survive until the end. And that is the first fact about the horror franchise, Scream. Let's dive in. Before I go any further, I just want to say that there will be no spoilers whatsoever. I will be not saying who the killer is in any of the Scream movies, in case you haven't seen it. Courtney Cox and David Arquette met on set and fell in love. They got married soon after. The killer is called Ghostface. It took 21 days to shoot the party scene. The party scene takes up 42 minutes of the runtime. Ghostface was originally going to wear a white robe. It was changed because the crew were worried he would look like a Ku Klux Klan member. The producer thought that Ghostface's mask looked stupid. You're stupid. The Ghostface mask was meant to have fangs. Ghostface rings his victims before he kills them. Caller ID tripled after the release of this film due to pranksters committing similar phone calls as the movie's killer. The characters say there are several rules to survive a horror movie. Rule 1, you will not survive if you ask who's there. Rule 2, you will not survive if you investigate a strange noise. Rule 3, you will not survive if you have sex. Oh no, I'm good as dead. Rule 4, you will not survive if you drink or do drugs. Rule 5, you will not survive if you say, I'll be right back. Rule 6, everybody is a suspect. Even you are a suspect. Linda Blair plays a reporter. Blair plays Regan in The Exorcist. The director, Wes Craven, plays Fred the janitor. He is wearing the same sweater as Freddy Krueger. Ghostface's mask is based on the painting The Scream, which is painted by Edvard Munch. In one scene, Rose McGowan's character, Tatum, tries to escape from Ghostface through a cat flap, but she can't fit through. Although some people complain that this seems stupid because there's no way anyone would think they could fit through a cat flap, McGowan actually could. The crew used 50 gallons of blood throughout the shoot. The voice of Ghostface is not played by the killer. Ghostface's voice is provided by Roger Jackson. None of the cast met him until filming was finished. Apart from the Scream franchise, Roger Jackson is best known for providing the voice of Mojo Jojo in the animated series The Powerpuff Girls.
And the human race will bow down to me, Mojo Jojo.
During the phone call scenes, the actors were actually speaking to Roger Jackson. Their reaction to his threats were genuine, and he has one of the coolest, scariest voices ever, especially when he says this.
Do you want to die, Sydney? Your mother sure didn't.
Sydney's boyfriend is called Billy Loomis. His name is based on Dr. Loomis from the Halloween franchise. Kevin Patrick Wallace auditioned for Billy. He was cast as Casey's boyfriend in the opening scene. The Ghostface costume was originally called Father Death. Freddie Prinze Jr. auditioned for Stu. The role went to Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard improvised most of his dialogue.
Do you think Sid would go out with me? No, I don't at all. No.
Neve Campbell and Matthew Lillard briefly dated while shooting the film. Joaquin Phoenix turned down the role of Billy. The role went to Skeet Ulrich. Skeet Ulrich and Neve Campbell worked together before in The Craft. Skeet Ulrich and Jamie Kennedy worked together on As Good as It Gets. Skeet Ulrich was cast due to his resemblance to Johnny Depp. Depp worked with the director before in the film A Nightmare on Elm Street. The original title was Scary Movie. Not that one. Sam Raimi, Robert Rodriguez, Danny Boyle, and George A. Romero were considered to direct. Scream was released just before Christmas, so it wouldn't have any other horror films to compete against. It took Drew Barrymore 5 days to shoot her scenes. The film cost $14 million. It made $173 million at the box office, making it the most successful film in the franchise. The tagline was, don't answer the phone, don't open the door, don't try to escape. Every cast member tried to guess the identity of the killer. Not one single person got it right. Speaking of which, I have never met a human being that has ever gotten it right who the killer is in this movie. To make Drew Barrymore look as scared as possible, the director kept telling her stories about animal cruelty. Ghostface was played by the director, Wes Craven, in some scenes. In the opening scene, Casey praises A Nightmare on Elm Street, but points out that the sequels sucked. This is a reference to Wes Craven directing the original, but not the sequels, until he made Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I did a video about that A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I'll leave a link at the end of this video if you want to check that out. Brooke Shields was nearly cast as Gail Weathers. The role went to Courtney Cox. At least 15 horror films are referenced, including The Bad Seed, The Howling, The Town That Dreads Sundown, Terror Train, and Prom Night. During production, the producers worried that the film wasn't scary enough. They stopped complaining when they saw the opening scene. The film spawned a TV series in 2015.
Tyler? You can't do a slasher movie as a TV series.
When Sidney stabs the killer with an umbrella, she genuinely stabbed the actor. One of the characters complains that the blood in Halloween is all wrong and too red, even though there's no visible blood in that film. The killer uses a Buck 120 hunting knife. This knife has now been discontinued. Rose McGowan said she enjoyed working on Scream more than anything else in her entire career. The sheriff wears the same boots as the killer. This was done on purpose to throw off the audience. That's not really a spoiler. No one's going to think this old 55-year-old fat sheriff is running around at top speed chasing people and killing them. Rose McGowan's character is the only person who refers to the murderer as Ghostface. Now let's look at Scream 2, which came out in 1997. The events of the previous film have been adapted in this film into a horror flick called Stab. In Stab's opening scene, the shadow of a crew member is clearly visible. This was done on purpose as a homage to the previous movie when a crew member's shadow appears in the opening scene. In the Stab scenes, Casey is played by Heather Graham, Billy is played by Luke Wilson. The opening kill scene in this film and the previous one is 12 minutes. The director, Wes Craven, cameos as a doctor. Originally, Hallie was the killer. The studio changed this as they were worried that the audience would complain if the killer was black. When the first 40 pages leaked online, the script had to be heavily rewritten. Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Cece. Reese Witherspoon was considered for the role. The last 10 pages of the script was printed on grey paper so it couldn't be photocopied. In the original ending, Sidney kills Cotton after he murders Gail. The film was supposed to end with another Ghostface watching the characters from a bell tower. 10 people die throughout the film. The original title was Scream, the sequel, to mock horror films that turn themselves into franchises just to make money. The title was changed to Scream 2 at the last minute. Probably because they realized they want to make sequels just to make money. The MPAA said the film was so gory, the director had to cut it 8 times before they were satisfied. 34 films are mentioned throughout Scream 2, including Candyman, Bloody Pom-Poms, The Dorm That Dripped Blood, Black Christmas, Demons, and House on Haunted Hill. The tagline was, rules of a sequel, the body count is always bigger, the death scenes are much more elaborate. Scream 3 came out in the year 2000. The original title was simply Ghostface. The director, Wes Craven, can be seen holding a video camera in the studio tour scene. The original tagline was, rules of a trilogy, Chapter 1, set the rules. Chapter 2, bend the rules. But in the finale, forget the rules. According to Randy, the rules of a horror trilogy are, the killer will be superhuman. Stabbing him won't work, shooting him won't work, you have to cryogenically freeze his head, decapitate him, or blow him up. Rule 2, anyone, including the main character, can die. Rule 3, any sins that you committed in the past will come back. Patrick Dempsey plays Detective Mark Kincaid. He was cast the day before production began. He had to learn his dialogue for 3 scenes in 1 day. David Boreanaz was considered for the role of Kincaid. The actors of the movie within a movie, Stab 3, complained how annoying it was to work on the film due to rewrites and multiple endings. This was a genuine complaint many actors made while working on the Scream franchise. Carrie Fisher plays Bianca. Fisher is a script doctor and used her expertise to rewrite some scenes. Jamie Lee Curtis was considered for the role of Bianca. Lance Henriksen plays John Milton. Wes Craven nearly played the role. Milton is named after the writer of Paradise Lost, which revolves around the battle between heaven and hell. Deep? Jenny McCarthy plays Sarah. Her character complains about playing a 21-year-old even though she is 35. The actress is actually 27. Originally, the killers were going to be a group of diehard fans of the film Stab. Liev Schreiber didn't want to wear a jacket for his scenes because he wanted to show off his muscles. Patrick Warburton plays Steven. The wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin, was considered for the role. Wes Craven shot 3 endings and didn't tell the cast which one was going to be used. They didn't know until they watched the movie. Scream 4 came out in the year 2011. The tagline was, new decade, new rules. The rules of Scream 4 are, don't with the original. Rule 2, you have to be gay to survive. Rule 3, police officers will die, except Bruce Willis, more so if they are about to retire, have a baby, or are good looking. Rule 4, the original ending is a false ending in a remake. What? Rule 5, the killer is always right behind you. Wes Craven cameos as a coroner, but his scene was cut. 15 people die in this film. This is one of the only horror franchises to have consistent main characters throughout the series. It is also one of the few horror franchises to have the same director for every movie. And the final fact, it's quite sad, but this was the last film that Wes Craven directed. He died from brain cancer in 2015. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe. If you want me to do a video about Wes Craven, I'll be more than happy to, but do let me know if there's any other horror franchises you want me to talk about, and I'll upload a video as soon as possible. To learn more facts, check out my books on Amazon. They're available on paperback and Kindle. Thanks for watching, see you again.